Today, we saw the S&P 500 making another new all-time highs. However, did you catch these warning signs as we went above all-time highs and started to come back lower? We're also going to talk about what Larry Fink had to say. Now, as we come over and look at how the indices fared across the board, the Dow was up 130 points. Nasdaq was up 252 points. S&P 500 up 37 points. Russell 2000 down 1.51. Now, look at advancing issues versus declining. We had 54.9% of issues declining on the day. And as we jump over and take a look at as we come over and look at the sectors across the board, only two sectors were in the green: technology and communication services. Now, maybe you guys already picked up on one or maybe even two of those warning signs, but first, let's jump over and take a look at the Fear and Greed Index. Earlier today, we saw the Fear and Greed Index actually move over into neutral territory. Then by the closing bell, we see it swinging right back over into fear. Well, if we come over and look at the first warning sign that we had out here today, as the market was making new all-time highs, look at the Volatility Index. The Volatility Index today closed up 3 cents on the session. You might say, Mike, that's not that big of a deal. Well, if you have the S&P 500 making new all-time highs, we would think that the VIX would be dropping down substantially. And we look at the dollar index closing near session highs. And we come over and look at the 10-year yield near the upper end of the range, closing out for the day. But then as we come over and look at the precious metal gold, notice gold also having a little bit of a selling tail on top of that candle. So what was the big takeaway from the day? Well, Oracle, Nvidia, other big tech stocks jump as Trump rolls out Stargate AI initiative. And this is really going to be a game changer. And we picked this up earlier today because if you come over and look at the SPY, for instance, the SPY closed up 0.54%. However, if we come over and look at the equal weight S&P 500 RSP, notice the RSP was actually red on the day. RSP was down negative 0.68%. And we kept talking about this throughout the entire live stream today. And if you want to make sure you don't miss the next time I go live, make sure you're subscribed and you have the bell notifications turned on for all. Then as we come over and look at what BlackRock Larry Fink says, Bitcoin could reach 700,000. Now, regardless if you trade Bitcoin or not, 700,000 is a milestone. That would be 7 times the current price in Bitcoin today. And Bitcoin today did suffer a slight pullback. We see the small red candle out here. And I was looking at Bitcoin earlier on the day saying, hey, maybe we have a little bit of risk off starting to take place. Then we come over and we take a look at crude oil today. Crude oil coming down, and we're still not really pushing up and out of this area. We had this structure zone where we had a prior swing point. We broke out. We are now coming back and testing that level. If crude oil is going to bounce, this is a likely area where crude oil will bounce. If it does not, watch out. The next area I'd look for is either these swing points right down here or this high volume node at about 70.24. Now, jumping back over and looking at the SPY real quick. SPY was able to make a new all-time high today, but look at the way the candle closed. Quite the wick on top of that candle. Shooting star type of candle, not the most bullish of looking candles out here. Then we jump over and take a look at the SPX, also making a new all-time high. However, it's not as great as it may seem because as we look at the SPY real quick and we start looking at the 4-hour chart, MACD indicator, yes, still looks extremely strong. But when we dive down and start looking at the 30-minute chart, here's one of the problems that I have. And we kept talking about this on the live stream. Out of the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 trading sessions, 4 of those have produced gaps to the upside that still have not come back and been filled. And now we actually have 3 days of consecutive gaps to the upside. So you know what that means for tomorrow? Highly probable we'll be on our way back and at minimum filling the gap that was left behind from today. When we come over and look at the futures markets real quick, we start off looking at the 4-hour chart. We smashed our ABC targets today. We smashed the untested point of control at 6,131.75. And as we look, notice in the developing volume profile for this week, very thin structure, and we have a huge minus development area within the composite profile as well. Now, if we do start to suffer a pullback, we also have this high volume area at about 6,081.75. And that is going to be very important. Why? Because as we come over and look at the daily profiles, notice 6,081.75 is also an untested point of control from the prior day, which still has not come back and been tested as of yet. Now, I would have preferred today we've been able to come out and take out the untested point of control at 6,136. However, the market simply did not make it up there. Now, along with the volume profile levels that we need to deal with for tonight, we want to look at this minus development area within the profile because that could provide, that could be a target location. Now, the way I'd want to target that would be value area low coming in at 6119.75. If we start breaking that, then I want to target this high volume node at 6114, then anywhere into this minus development area about 6105. Point of control comes in at 6,123.75 with value area high being 6133.25. Now, if you like a way to support the channel at no additional cost to yourself, check out the 3 prop firms I trade with: Apex Trader Funding, My Funded Futures, and Take Profit Trader. Right now, you can get the best deal out there using the promo codes and the links down below. Now, part of the problems that we had out here for today, or for that matter, for the entire week so far, we've had no major economic news to report on. However, tomorrow things start to change because at 8:30 a.m., we get the weekly unemployment claims. Then at 11 a.m., the president will be speaking. And so we have 2 potential market moving events out here for tomorrow. And we're going to see, will those market moving events push stocks back down, trying to fill the gaps that were left behind from today. Now, when we come over and look at the QQQs real quick, not able to make a new all-time high, but still look at the wick on top of this candle. We got a massive gap up today, huge, nasty wick on top of that candle. On the daily chart, MACD indicator is crossed to the upside. 4-hour chart, MACD still looks extremely strong, but then on the 30-minute chart, we have a bearish cross to the MACD line, and we have this large gaping gap that was left behind from the day. Now, tomorrow, I will want to target down here towards gap support at about 529.26, and then potentially running all the way down and filling the gap. Keep in mind, similar to the S&P 500, there are several gaps to the downside that still need to be filled, but I want to take it one gap at a time. Now, as we come over and look at the futures markets real quick, notice we came up, we smashed that untested point of control, 21,982. And now the question is has the market gone a little bit too far, too fast? Do we start to get a pullback that could essentially be nothing more than a buying opportunity to take the market back to new all-time highs? We come over and start looking at the daily profiles and notice that we have a P as in Paul shaped profile, and that doesn't indicate bullish or bearish the market. What it indicates is that if we start breaking value area low, it increases the odds that we're going to explore the lower third of the range, and that would bring us probably somewhere down in the ballpark of about 21,856. However, we want to be on high alert that if we break value area low and we start coming back up, I want to target the point of control and value area high. Now, those volume profile levels will come in as such. Value area low being 21,982. The point of control coming in at 22,014, and value area high coming in at 22,076. Keep in mind, we still have that untested point of control left behind from yesterday at 21,723. And the fact that we did not hit the B point today increases the probabilities that tomorrow we will likely hit the P point. However, it will be in a different location. Now, as we come over and look at the small caps real quick, Russell 2000, we've been able to get above this anchored VWAP. Now we're coming right back down today, testing out that level. The Russell 2000 today was the weakest of the indices, and on the daily chart, the MACD indicator still looks promising at this moment. On the 4-hour chart, MACD indicator looks extremely strong as well, but you can see some of the gaps that we do have left behind down below us. We also have this high volume node on the profile, somewhere in the ballpark of about 221. Then as we dive down, start looking at the 30-minute chart, MACD indicator has already been crossed to the downside. But I want to warn you guys, if we stay up here at these elevated levels and the MACD indicator works itself down towards the 0 line, watch out. That could be nothing more than a recharge point for another move higher in this market. So pay very close attention to the MACD indicator. Does it try to firm up, and are we still around these areas? Now, we do have a gap left behind from yesterday, and that gap support will come in at 227.03. So if we continue to see weakness in the market, that's going to be the first target I want to focus on. Then I want to look to see, can we come back and fill the gap? Now, let me know in the comment section down below, do you guys think today was nothing more than a look above failure for the S&P, and we're likely going to go ahead and start going lower? And if you guys trade with prop firms, especially Take Profit Trader, you want to make sure you watch this video first.